He used to be everywhere, now he's nowhere, and suddenly, everyone notices. They don't say it out loud, but they check. They wonder. They feel the gap. Because presence makes you visible, but distance makes you valuable. You didn't lose them by saying too much. You lost them by being too available. Pulling away is not weakness, it's leverage, when done right. You don't need to chase attention. Your absence becomes the trigger. In this video, you'll learn how to use distance, not as escape, but as strategy, to control perception, shift frame, and make people feel. The weight of your silence. Part 1. Why presence can kill influence. Most people think, the more you show up, the more you matter. But in psychology, abundance equals devaluation, and presence, when unfiltered, kills weight. Attention has limits. The brain tunes out what's always there, the voice that speaks too often, the text that always replies, the presence that's always accessible. Eventually, that signal becomes background noise, familiar, predictable, powerless. You don't gain control by showing up more. You lose gravity. Influence equals contrast, and contrast requires space. If you're always available, you give them no time to feel the lack, no craving, no mystery, no space for reflection, and without that, there's no emotional weight. When you're always there, they stop looking. They stop noticing tone. They stop respecting your silence. They stop working to keep your attention. You've made yourself known, but no longer felt. Because impact requires interruption, and presence without absence becomes invisible. Power is not presence. It's perceived scarcity. You don't need to disappear forever. You just need to leave before they expect you to stay. That's how you convert curiosity into craving, and your absence into pressure. Part 2. Psychological impact of distance. When you disappear, something strange happens. People start to notice what they took for granted, not because you said anything, not because you changed, but because your absence activated pressure. Distance triggers perception gaps. When you pull away, the brain looks for reasons. It starts filling in blanks. It projects and overthinks. This is called perceived loss. And the mind reacts to loss faster than it reacts to logic. Now they replay, did I do something wrong? Are they upset? Why do I feel like I need them now? They don't miss your words. They miss what your absence made them feel. Space creates tension. Presence creates comfort. But distance creates friction, and friction equals attention. Now they feel off balance, emotionally uncertain, pulled toward regaining equilibrium. They don't know what shifted, but they feel it. You didn't force the connection, you disrupted it. And disruption leads to craving. Disconnection equals power transfer. When you're always available, they're in control. When you step back, you flip the frame. Now they initiate. They overcompensate. They try to interpret silence. They lean in while you lean out. You're not chasing validation. You're creating mental weight. And weight is influence, even when delivered in silence. Distance builds. Obsession, not rejection. Most people fear, if I pull away, I'll lose them. Number. You lose them by staying too long, but if you pull away with frame, with silence, with calm, you become unsolvable, unreadable, unforgettable, because the mind always wants what it can't fully access. You're not pushing them out, you're pulling yourself back, just far enough to become valuable again. Part 3. 3 strategic forms of distance. Distance isn't just physical, it's structural, it's layered, and when used right, it becomes psychological warfare. You don't need to push people away, you just need to pull back in the right dimension. 1. Temporal distance. Delay creates demand. You don't respond immediately, not because you're playing games, but because you're resetting the frame. Fast responses equals availability. Slow responses equals authority. When you wait, you regain position. You remove emotional urgency. You force them to sit in uncertainty. Silence over time equals amplified pressure. Every minute you hold adds weight to your absence. 2. Spatial distance. Absence builds perception. You stop showing up everywhere. You reduce your presence in their world. And when you do appear, it matters. Scarcity creates value, but only when it feels intentional, so you don't disappear to punish. You withdraw to rebalance gravity. People remember the ones who were there and then weren't, not the ones who stayed too long. 3. Emotional distance. Disengage without disconnecting. You don't react emotionally. You don't match their tone. You don't jump into their storm. This creates psychological confusion. Why aren't they responding? Why do I feel more than they do? Why do I suddenly need to fix this? You're not cold. You're calculated. You're not avoiding. You're holding power by not giving signal. And in that absence of emotional reciprocity, they start reaching. Key rule: distance only works if frame is intact. If you withdraw from weakness, they feel abandonment. If you withdraw from control, they feel gravity. That's the line. Don't flee, don't ghost, just pull back enough for your absence to reshape the dynamic. 3 dimensions, 3 weapons: time, space, emotion. Each one shifts the field, without a word. Part 4. Pull away to reset the frame. When your frame breaks, speaking more won't fix it, explaining won't help. Chasing only makes it worse, but if you pull back strategically, you don't lose control. You reclaim it. Frame doesn't die. It just gets contaminated. Sometimes you lose control of the moment. You react too quickly. You explain too much. You lean in when you should have held back. And suddenly, you're not leading the dynamic anymore. You're following it. But here's the key. You don't reset frame by forcing it back. You reset by removing yourself from it. Silence is the reset button. When you step away, you clear emotional noise, you regain clarity, you stop the frame bleed. And more importantly, you make them sit with the absence, not just of your words, but of your energy, your presence, your emotional signal. And when that goes silent, the system resets itself around the void. The pullback sequence, frame reset protocol. 1. Disengage. Leave the interaction without drama. No closure, just exit. 2. Go silent. No follow-up, no correction. Let them feel the missing signal. Third, hold the vacuum. The longer you don't return, the more they replay everything. 4. Re-emerge neutral. Don't justify, don't over-explain. Just return with new calibration. You don't come back emotional, you come back unreadable. That's the reset. Why it works. Because people anchor to patterns, and when you break the pattern they relied on, their confidence drops. Their assumptions collapse. Their frame becomes unstable. They were used to your presence, your reactions, your rhythm. Now, they have none. And that lack of signal forces them to re-evaluate your position. This isn't ghosting. It's psychological repositioning. You didn't disappear. You elevated. You didn't retreat. You reclaimed space. And when you return, you no longer enter their frame. They enter yours. Part 5. Tactical disengagement. Walk away, not down. Most people walk away only after they've been dismissed, after they've lost control, after they've already collapsed. But tactical disengagement isn't retreat, it's repositioning. Walk away when you still have leverage. The key is timing. You leave while they still want your energy. Before the conversation turns emotional, before they feel in control, that's what makes it powerful. Not the leaving, but when you choose to leave. Exit without explanation. Don't narrate your exit. Don't explain your silence. Don't justify why you're pulling back. Just move, clean, cold, unapologetic. Because every explanation reduces the weight of your absence. Let the silence speak. Let them wonder. Disengagement is a signal of control. It says, I don't need to finish this. I don't need to be understood. I don't need to be here to still control what happens next. That's not weakness. That's dominance in quiet form. And it hits harder because it doesn't need permission. Disengagement is not equal to disappearance. It's movement without collapse. You're not leaving the game. You're just shifting position. To create tension, you move away. So they feel the gap. You pause. So they lean in. You go still. So they start moving again. All while you say nothing. This is how you walk away. Without walking down. No reaction, no residue, no regret. Just power, moving in silence. Final CTA. You didn't leave because you lost. You left. Because staying would have cost you frame. And when you pulled back, the silence started doing the work. You stopped speaking. They started wondering. You stopped reacting. They started replaying. You stopped being present. And suddenly, you became powerful again. This is weaponized distance. Pull away while you still have gravity. Let absence do what presence couldn't. Make them feel the weight of what you no longer give. You're not disconnecting. You're resetting the field. You don't retreat. You recalibrate. And when you return, you're the one holding the frame.